What is up? Welcome back to the Lifeonaire Show. I'm Jason Wojo, your host. I got Polish Peter on the line as my co-host. Today we are talking about it. Let's see if I get a first take. The top 10 tech tools to use in business. If you missed that, it's the top 10 tech tools to use in business. And these
Say
are things,
that fast, really fast 3 times.
dude. We're gonna have to go in there and edit it too much. It's gonna be a disaster. So here we go, man. Technology is becoming more and more important in business, and I'm not even just talking about AI. We'll talk about AI a little bit here, but I think there's maybe an overemphasis on AI to some extent, in that it can take over your it kind of reminds me of how when I first got into automation, everything was something automatable, and that's just not true when you lose sight of the business. But we will talk about AI. But beyond that, there are tools that you will use in your business to function, to work effectively and efficiently, to take things off your plate. And so what we've kind of put together is a list of tools. We've got about 10, maybe some bonus ones, some hidden gems in there that we'll share with you about some things that you should be incorporating in your business, or at least consider using them if they are relevant for your type of business and where you're at. So the first one is a CRM. And so within Lifeonaire, and my favorite CRM that I'm using currently is called Keep, K-E-A-P. And the reason I like Keep is because it includes business automation tools in there as well. And so so I can automate my marketing, I can automate operations, I can automate some customer service stuff. It also acts as a central database for all of my customers. I can tag them. We can segment them based on, hey, maybe this person has been to a Get Life getaway already. Maybe this person hasn't yet and they have to go, or and so I can do all of this stuff within Keep. And I believe in Keep so much I became a certified partner for them. And so this is, the hub, I think, of most businesses is their CRM.
Yeah, I think, I don't care what kind of business you are in, you need to have a CRM. Some kind of a CRM, you have to have it in order to manage your clients, know what they're doing, that you can speak to them correctly, and all of those different things. So in tracking revenues and all those different things. So
Yep.
It is really important to have a CRM. So if you don't, and you're in the business, that's one of the first things I will look at.
Yeah, and totally. You mentioned another thing, dude, is if you don't have you need a payment processor too. Let's add that as a tech tool. So Keep has its own, it's called Keep Pay, but you don't necessarily have to use that. You could use something like Stripe, PayPal. There's a bunch of other ones out there, and you would link that through a gateway, and we're getting technical here, but essentially you link it to your CRM, so you can see in your CRM, hey, John's credit card is expiring, next week. Let's send him an email, and that automatically does it for you. Or, hey, Sally's payment went through perfectly. Or, and so that payment, your ability to take payments digitally, do not send out invoices if you can avoid it. Just have recurring billing, have that all set up in your CRM or your payment, processor, ideally to take things off your plate.
Yeah, and by the way, when he's talking about technical, in today's world, a lot of this is just basically clicking buttons, so don't be overwhelmed by...
It's not hard.
Like connecting Stripe, it's clicking buttons.
Yeah, so, it's not hard.
Yeah, so it's not bad.
So, okay, next one, speaking of money, let's talk about some bookkeeping software. Now, I got to tell you, we use QuickBooks Online, and it's a good program. It has a lot of bells and whistles that I personally don't use, and I think are a little bit probably overkill for the typical small business owner. And I also have a little bit of a gripe with how much it costs, because I do feel like it's overpriced for what I'm using. But that being said, most accountants are on QuickBooks, and you really want an online version because, if you have to update your company files on a desktop version, then email them over, and then they make changes and email them back, it's just really inefficient and ineffective. You're always wondering if you're on the right version, or, hey, oh gosh, is this the most up-to-date version, or is that it just gets confusing. So you almost have to do it. Now, with that said, I did start off in an Excel spreadsheet, when I first started business, and and my accountant just wanted to murder me, and finally I grew the confidence to do it in QuickBooks, and I'm glad I did. And it's very important as well, because in things like QuickBooks, and again, there are other available options out there, but you can pull reports, and so you can very easily pull a profit and loss statement, which hopefully you know what that is. A balance statement, a cash flow statement, and you can customize these really easily to give yourself some real data on your business, which is hugely important. We talk about this as a Business Builder Workshop, man, is knowing your numbers. Hey, what's my gross margin here? What's my net margin? And knowing those numbers is super important, and QuickBooks or other softwares like that will give you a little bit of insight there.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, depending on the industry, then talk to the people who are, running their business successfully in your industry to see what bookkeeping softwares they're using, because some of them are, for instance, like real estate investors. There are certain ones that really work for real estate investors. So just see if you have something there. All right,
there are some
next.
industry-specific ones as well.
Yeah.
So talking about, the other thing is like, getting things done in your business. So we started off, and by the way, we use Google Drive extensively with Google Workspace, I think they call it now. And we, like, for instance, our SOPs are all in Google Docs. We used to have a specific SOP software, and I just felt like it wasn't really necessary. It was kind of an unnecessary expense. And by the way, you guys know that we're very much of a essentialist attitude here, meaning like, if we don't need it, like, why are we paying for it? Just being smart with your money, being smart and stewarding your finances as well. So
just like your hair, you don't need it.
Dude,
why do
that's
like,
right.
Yeah,
like,
right?
get rid of it. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't serve any function, right? Exactly. I don't need to keep my head warm. I can get a hat. So like,
There you go.
exactly, bro. So, for getting things done, but let me back up. So we got the Google Drive for our SOPs. Of course, we use a lot of stuff in there. But we also use Asana currently for getting things done. Now, we used to use a Google Doc, and everybody would kind of write in every week what they got done, what they had to do, and then we tried a Google Sheet, and it just wasn't really cutting it. And I like Asana because we've been able to prioritize and customize our projects, so you can see like who the collaborators are, when the due date is, the priority level. You can set priority like low, medium, high. You can set this task status, and there's also checkboxes, and like it's very easy to use, and you can put notes onto the specific tasks and things like that. And Asana is fairly inexpensive too, so that's what we use. And we just found it like just easier. Now you could totally like, duct tape something together if you don't want to spend money on that. If it's just you or a small team, you could probably download some. You could probably honestly put something in ChatGPT, like, hey, generate me a task, a to-do list that I can use in a Google Sheet, and it'll spit something out for you.
Yeah. So I think that one important aspect to that, I would just add that make sure that whatever you end up using, that's why I think Google Drive is really good, because it's very easy to share with your team and collaborate and update, and it's live, and everybody, who updated what, and those kinds of things. So it's easy to track and share with your team. So just make sure that is the case, and you can actually remove someone easily, add someone easily, and it doesn't complicate a lot of different things.
Yep. And listen, like, you get email with that too, and like, so like, for instance, my Lifeonaire email, Peter's Lifeonaire email, that's a Google email account, a Gmail account. So like,
that makes things simple.
Yeah, it's very easy. And there's other stuff too. We use Google Calendar quite a bit and things like that. And that's all integrated into the Google Workspace. So speaking of sharing things, Peter mentioned this. One thing that I use within Lifeonaire is 1Password. This is, and by the way, I'm not getting, dude, I totally should have set up affiliate accounts for all these things, because we're like giving them, we're going to be getting some.
I use RoboForm, so all the passwords, So
what's
it's different. I use RoboForm for all the passwords. Yeah.
So I use 1Password. Essentially, what it is a password manager. So you can selectively share passwords with your team versus keeping them private. And so like, maybe you want your tech team to have passwords of certain sites, but your finance team will have exclusive links to your bank accounts and stuff like that, and passwords to your bank accounts that your tech team doesn't have. So that's how you can control that. So yeah, dude, we're flying through this, man. And people are probably madly scribbling notes here. So, and you know what we should do? Maybe in the show notes, we can have our team list these out. Sorry, team, for the notice here, but this would be great if you could put this in the show notes.
Let's do that. I think that's good.
So the next,
what number are we on? Are you tracking?
Oh, dude, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is number 6, I think.
All right.
6 or 7. Yeah. Next one is Canva. So you're going to want to do some design. We used to use Adobe Illustrator, InDesign, Photoshop. And I'll tell you, man, the capabilities of those are phenomenal, by the way, but they're far more than the typical business owner will need. And for the simple things that, most business owners want to create, Canva is just way easier. Now, a pro account is like $20 a month, and it's totally worth it because they have like hundreds of templates. You can literally type in like Facebook post promoting blah, 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 and they will find templates for you, and you just kind of plug and play. You can upload your brand kit. So you can, if you use the same colors or the same logos, or you have your headshot, like you literally drag it on the canvas and then decide, hey, I want this to be an Instagram post. I want it to be a printable PDF. I want it to be, a LinkedIn, whatever, you can very, very easily customize that for design.
Yeah, and they've actually lately they added AI capabilities to it. So what ends up happening is you can just tell it and it will search their entire database and give you the exact design that you would want, or they'll give you a they have different AI magic tools that you can literally, expand the, canvas like on that picture, or you can change the color, you can change the backgrounds, all kinds of different things. So it's really intuitive and it's easy to use. Like,
Yep.
I can use it.
The other thing, dude, of course, is like in talking about design and social media, is like a social media manager. So we are concurrently using one with our social media team. It's called Vista Social. And I am not super well versed on all the different ones out there. This guy that we're working with right now is, we've had him on the podcast before. His name is Harry. And he prefers this one, so we're using it. But regardless of which one you choose, if you're doing any social media marketing at all, probably the least effective way or the most inefficient way to do it is to go natively to each different platform that you're posting. Now, if you're posting on one platform, it's not a big deal, right? Or if you're doing Instagram and Meta, maybe it's not a big deal because you can use the same interface there. But if you're posting across YouTube and X and LinkedIn, you don't want to have to go to each of these different platforms to post, especially if it's the same post. And so what essentially the cool thing about Vista Social is you basically choose which platforms you want. You literally click a button, which ones you want it to publish to. You schedule it in advance if you want to, or you can publish it right then too. And you'll see you can see a preview of it, make sure the dimensions line up, make sure the images look the way you want. You can do a bunch of other stuff in there too, but it's just again, a way to consolidate effort so that you're not running around to each different platform trying to do it over and over again.
Yep. You basically taking advantage of those tools to minimize the amount of time you spend on stuff. So yeah, I've used Hootsuite before. That's another one. But yeah, I'm curious about, actually probably going to look at the one that you just talked about. See
dude, I do like it. I'm in there. Not, again, I haven't been into a lot of them, but like it is pretty good. All right, we got some more for you guys, cause, and we'll talk about, justifying expenses at the end of this too. So the next one, is something that I don't use super frequently anymore, but it is still valuable, and that is MindMeister or any mind mapping software.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this at the Business Builder Workshop, where we do a business breakdown. We have people create what we call their BAM, their business architecture map, where it's a graphic visual representation of all the moving parts of their business. And if you're a visual person, it's a very, very useful tool, whether you're designing a marketing campaign. So for instance, right now, I'm putting together my marketing plan for my book. And so, for instance, I'm in MindMeister, and I'm saying like, hey, podcast, and that's going to be its own little bubble. And then under here, I'm going to be like, okay, email list. And under that, I'm going to have, influencers. And then and so you can build out visually, if your mind works that way, plans. You can use this for org charts. You can use this for, even when I wrote the book, for instance, my first version of it was in a mind map. And I'm just putting all the things that I want to include in the book into this graph. And if you don't know what a mind map is, just think that tree diagram, like when you were back in high school, right? It's a tree diagram with all these branches that connect to each other. But yeah, man, there's a bunch of other ones out there too.
Yeah, I use one called Xmind, and it's really good too. But yeah, take a look at those, because I think we think a lot like that. So I think it helps you flush out ideas, helps you get some clarity to what you're thinking through, and be able to put it on paper. And that's, I think, a really good software to do that.
Yep. All right. The next one is super simple. Most businesses will need a website. So we simply use WordPress, man. We're using WordPress. We use Divi theme for our, the whatever theme, I guess you call it. I don't remember who our host is. It's not like GoDaddy, but essentially it's one of these higher level kind of hosts. But of course, like, there's a lot of businesses out there that don't even need websites anymore. Although, I still think it's a thing to some extent.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, WordPress is really good because it's been around for gazillions of years and they constantly update it for security purposes and all kinds of different things. And it's free. So you can't beat that. And there's so many developers that you can add plugins to it, which is basically little softwares that can run specific little things on that website. So I love WordPress. I've been using it for like ever. And when I used to develop websites for businesses back in the day, my previous business, I used WordPress exclusively for that.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. For some, dude, it's just WordPress is what for. And by the way, I have plenty of ideas to make WordPress better, but nobody cares. Like it is, like there's some areas I think that can be improved, but like it is what it is, and it's free, and it is the standard that everybody uses, so it is what it is.
Right.
Okay, next one. I use this quite a bit, man. Loom. So Loom is basically a screen sharing or video collection plugin. They have a free version as well as paid version. And I find this really valuable for me. Like when I have a message, maybe I want to send to my team. It's just a quick video I want to shoot. Hey guys, like and I just record it in Loom and send it over. Or like earlier today, I was having a tech issue and I just recorded my screen and sent it over to my tech guy. And so it's really easy to exchange and record stuff on Loom.
Yeah, I use a different kind of software. I used to use Loom back in the day, and I moved over to this one called Komodo Dex. And that, got some AI built into it. So what it does, it creates like all the captions for me.
Oh, cool.
Creates all the scripts. And sometimes, depending on the type of video, we'll go and create some form of SOP that's attached to it, depending how I'm creating this video. So that's another good software to think about.
Got it. Of course, we use as we're recording this podcast right now on Zoom. And Zoom is what it is, dude. It's almost become like a WordPress of sorts, like for a lot of video software. Although I'll tell you, like, Google Hangouts I've used a little bit, and I'm not quite as comfortable in there. I think some of the functionality isn't quite as good as Zoom, but that totally could be my ignorance with the platform. It's free. If you got a Google Workspace like Google, then your Google Meet is free. So like it's up to you there.
Yep, I think that's a good one. Yep.
And then the last couple here, we use Airtable, which is kind of like, think of like a Google Sheet on steroids, where you can really it's fairly inexpensive. We use this for some project management stuff, in regards to our social media, like video creation stuff, keeping track of larger projects that have, a lot of links in them and a lot of to do items. Like we use this for some things like that. Although I'm not quite as familiar with Airtable as I should be. I know we use that. And then the last one, of course, like let's talk about AI, man. Like oh, first of all, did you have any other non-AI ones that I missed?
Not that I can think of. I mean, we give them a lot of different tools. So if they just take 2 or 3 of these tools out of the entire list and use in their business, it'll make a difference. So,
well, and let me also say this, man, like so you're looking at, like, let me just tell you, like what, so like Keep for us is like, say $250 a month. QuickBooks, I think now is like $70 a month. Asana, I think is up, $100 something a year. Google Drive, you pay by the email. So I think it's like $10-15 per email that you have. So that'll depend on how, and then I think they also have a storage kind of thing, so you're spending some money on this stuff. Like, and I did not calculate what the cost is overall, but really don't use something, or sorry, don't go out and get something if you don't need it. Now, a lot of these do have free trials if you want to see if you would actually use it, because you always want to keep your business as lean as possible. Like it's kind of like, if you ever looked at like the subscriptions you have, you're like, I haven't used that in 2 years. Like, it is a waste of money. Like, so only use the things you need. And in some cases, for instance, and if you don't know if you're going to use it, don't try to get the yearly discount and then pay for a full year. Like, pay the extra money for a month and then transfer over to an annual subscription if you actually end up using it.
Yeah, and think about it, from the perspective, it's another employee in your company. Just think about it this way, like the CRM, right? How many different people would you need to hire to make sure that they keep track of all of this stuff? For instance, the CRM and then clients and all those different things, right? So it's another employee. So if you look from that perspective, guess what? You just spend $100 or $250 a month event. So you just got an employee for $250 a month.
Yeah.
Can't beat that, right? So if you shift from that perspective and look from the perspective, because think about this like the CRM. In a way, it's actually making you money because you can look at the numbers, you can create automations. So things that happen because of that, it's creating money for your business. So it's a revenue generating tool. And
Yeah,
when you
it's an
look from that,
investment.
yeah, it's an investment, not an expense. So
Yeah.
that's AI.
I mean, all in, I mean, I think the average person is probably going to spend somewhere between, I don't know, $5,000 to $10,000 a year on technology. I mean, on average, that's a super broad range and very, very off the cuff. Like it could be way more than that or way less than that. But in any case, like just realize this is part of your business. Okay. And so AI. So for me, dude, I'm still a chat GPTer. Like that's where most of my time is spent. I've admittedly spent a lot of time training it, which essentially means like uploading important information to it so that it can kind of get a better understanding, give you better answers to the prompts that you give it. I'm using Claude a little bit in writing. I haven't dove much into, we use Descript a little bit.
That's what I was going to mention.
I think our team is using Descript a little bit for some of the podcast stuff, actually.
We use Descript a lot. Yeah, me.
Okay. So yeah, what are you into?
So yeah, ChatGPT, obviously, Descript. I'm trying to think of some other tools from the AI perspective. Perplexity is another one that we've used. It's called perplexity.ai. It's sort of like a ChatGPT, but it's more search engine driven. So what ends up happening when you start putting those different things in there, you can use it in a more of like a, how do I say this, it's a different purpose kind of an AI, but you can take a look at that too. But
Yeah.
ChatGPT keeps coming back to it, and you're looking from that. Now they're talking about creating some agents that you can go and actually use within ChatGPT. I saw they're putting out their own browser. It's called Atlas. I haven't used it yet, but there's probably some aspects to it that's going to help people, work with their own agents within ChatGPT to go and take something of the task, because I've seen a lot of people doing AI. We can spend a whole episode on that, of creating these agents within AI to go do certain things for you, like researching on the internet or logging to different places to be able to go and do certain things that you don't have to do anymore, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
So
it's
tasks.
wild, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it is crazy.
And of course, I think there's probably nothing in technology evolving as quickly as AI right now. And in fact, like, even 6 months from now, if you back and listen to this episode, we may be using different tools. Like it's evolving that. Now ChatGPT has a pretty strong lead on people because they were kind of first to market with this, in terms of like at least getting some real traction. But certainly, like, dude, I subscribe to a couple of these newsletters that give me daily updates on different platforms and different tools, and it's like it's constantly evolving, and it's kind of like the Wild West out there right now.
Yeah, so I would make sure that as a business, I want to, finish it up with this. When you're writing your business vision, right? And we talk about the business builder all the time about writing your business vision for yourself. You want to make sure that the tools that you are incorporating are going to be aligning with that business vision to help you get to that business vision. So when you have that clarity, you start to make much more strategic decisions of which tool that I'm going to use to help me get there. Because I think as far as like, if you're on the internet, which pretty much everybody is, there's so many distractions, so many offers, and this tool is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and that tool is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and you can get very distracted and end up, learning all these tools every single day, and a year from now, you're still learning different tools and not actually incorporating any of them. So my, encouragement here for you listeners, take 1, 2, 3 tools out that we just mentioned and see how it aligns with your particular business, and start incorporating in it and give it a chance to play out. Because a lot of times what we do is we just take the first, few weeks, we look at it, oh, it's not working, because we come up with some kind of a problem, an issue, and that's not going to work. And then we move on to something else. So give it a chance, play it out. Because think about this, like you, and I don't want to go into a whole different conversation, but you have to learn Keep. You had to go learn about it and go through some of those aspects that there was some bottleneck here or whatever. And now you've built it out to a system that is basically running a lot of the business aspects that you don't have to do anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
there is a learning curve, but yeah, to your
Yeah.
point, I think of like the 80-20, like do not like, you just got to see what other people are doing, give it a shot, dive in there, and then, and then just go with it. Cause you totally great point, man. This can become a huge distraction from you from running the business. So listen, check out the list in the show notes. If you missed some of those, share this with somebody who maybe needs some technical assistance or technology assistance in their business. And we'd love for you to leave us a review or rating. It helps us reach more people and impact more business owners. All right, we will see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in.